Welcome to Alien Eve. New sci-fi stories arrive every 4 hours. If you want these journeys to continue, your support means everything. For long listening sessions, check out the playlist and enjoy the universe.
The first thing Lieutenant Ryland Pierce noticed on Vaeloron 3 was the silence. Not the peaceful kind. This was the kind that sat over the ruined research outpost like a held breath, heavy enough to press into his lungs. What remained of the perimeter lights flickered lazily, struggling against the dusk. Beyond the broken gates, crystalline forests rose like frozen waves, every shattered branch humming with residual energy from whatever event had torn the outpost apart. He stepped carefully over scorched panels, his boots crunching against fragments of shattered memory crystals. His visor displayed no life signs, no comm signals, nothing human, nothing alien, just quiet ruin, until something moved. A faint shimmer like heat haze drifted between two collapsed analysis towers. Ryland froze, hand hovering over the pulse pistol at his thigh. The shimmer flickered, then vanished. "Great," he muttered. "Either ghosts are real or I'm concussed again." A soft sound answered him, not a voice, not breathing, a resonance that felt like a whisper beneath his ribs. He turned slowly. There, half hidden behind a toppled energy conduit, was a figure. Tall, slender, wrapped in an iridescent cloak that shifted like liquid starlight, and her eyes, two luminous sapphires, watching him with an intensity that pinned him in place. She stepped forward. Her skin wasn't skin, not exactly. It glowed in faint patterns, like bioluminescent threads beneath crystal-smooth flesh. Her elongated ears tapered into delicate fin-like ridges that fluttered with each subtle motion. She wasn't human, not close. But she also wasn't attacking. Ryland raised his hands just slightly, non-threatening, palms open. "I'm not here to fight," he said slowly, "if you understand me." The alien woman tilted her head, studying him with unsettling clarity. Then she spoke, her voice a soft, layered harmony that brushed the air like a chord. "You bleed wrong to be one of the saboteurs." He blinked, "Thanks, I think." She approached with graceful, silent steps. Up close, she towered over him by nearly a head, her presence both otherworldly and strangely grounding. She lifted a hand toward his chest, not touching, just sensing. "You are human," she murmured, "not responsible for the breach." "What breach?" he asked. "What happened here?" She didn't answer immediately. Her eyes flicked toward the destroyed compound, and something pained crossed her face, subtle but unmistakable. "My name is Surya," she said. "Last of the Velari researchers stationed here. And you." She reached suddenly and grabbed his wrist, not aggressively, urgently. "You must leave now." A low tremor pulsed through the ground. Ryland felt it in his bones. "That wasn't seismic activity," he said. "No," Surya whispered, "it's hunting." Before he could ask what, a piercing shrill tore through the crystalline forest, splitting the silence like a blade. Surya's grip tightened. She pulled him behind a collapsed generator housing just as a massive silhouette lurked between the glowing trees. Metallic limbs, scanning beams sweeping in patterns far too deliberate to be natural. Ryland swore under his breath. "A rogue warden mech." "Not rogue," Surya said. "Reprogrammed, sabotaged, everything here was." Her voice trembled not with fear but fury. "My people died to protect what we created. Now it hunts anything that moves." The mech paused, sensors humming. Ryland pressed back against the metal, breathing carefully. Surya's cloak brushed his shoulder, warm, softer than it looked. She glanced at him, eyes glowing faintly brighter. "You make much noise," she whispered. "Humans are famously terrible at stealth." She blinked slowly, then added, "Your heart is loud as well." "That's, not something I can control." A faint, almost reluctant shimmer passed across her features. Amusement, just barely. The mech's scanning beam sliced over their hiding place. Surya didn't flinch. Instead, she leaned closer, her voice low. "If we run separately, it will catch both of us." "So we run together." "Yes," she said, "but you must trust me." He swallowed. "I don't even know you." "You know enough," she replied, wrapping her hand around his forearm. Her grip was surprisingly strong. "And I know this, you step where I step or you die." She moved before he could respond, pulling him with her into the crystalline forest. The mech's sensors shrieked and pivoted toward them. Plasma lit the night behind them. Ryland sprinted after her, her movements impossibly fluid, weaving through jagged formations without breaking stride. He tried not to watch the way her cloak rippled around her, glowing faintly like living stardust. Tried and failed. A bolt struck a crystal trunk beside him, exploding it into shards. Surya turned sharply, pulling him down a narrow ravine of fractured luminescent stone. A protective barrier flickered into existence around them. Her doing. An energy shield shimmering like a soft blue cocoon. Rylan exhaled shakily. That thing almost atomized me. Surya placed a glowing hand on the ravine wall, igniting hidden patterns, opening a concealed passageway beneath the stone. Then do not give it a second chance. They descended into the glowing tunnel. The entrance sealed behind them with a hum. Darkness settled. Only Surya's glow remained, soft, ethereal, painting shifting blue strokes against the walls. Rylan sat against the smooth stone, catching his breath. If you're the last Vaeloron here, why stay? Surya's expression lowered, the light in her eyes dimming. Because someone must— The tunnel carried them downward in a slow spiral, its walls faintly pulsing with soft blue veins. The air felt warmer here, touched by a low vibration that flowed through the stone like a heartbeat. Rylan followed Surya closely, his footsteps echoing just behind hers. She moved without sound, her cloak gliding like liquid shadow. Eventually, the passage widened into a chamber carved out long ago, smooth, circular, and lit by crystal clusters embedded in the walls. They flickered alive the moment Surya entered, responding to her presence like an awakening organism. Rylan exhaled, finally breaking the silence. So, this is your safe place. One of them, she replied, but not safe enough. The warden mechs will trace residual heat patterns. We cannot stay long. He rubbed the back of his neck. You know, I thought Vaeloron labs were all pristine glass and levitating equipment. Didn't expect glowing caves. Surya touched a hand to the wall, her fingers leaving a faint trail of light. Vaeloron structures reflect their environment. We build with the land, not against it. Rylan nodded, though his mind kept circling back to the thing that had attacked them. Back outside that mech, you said it wasn't rogue. It was rewritten, she said quietly. Turned into a predator for reasons I do not yet understand. He watched the way her expression tightened, barely, but enough to show the weight she carried. You lost people here, he said softly. Surya didn't answer at first. She moved to the center of the chamber where a dormant console sat like a petrified tree stump. She placed her palm on it. Symbols ignited under her hand, gentle fluid lines that shifted like ink in water. Yes, she said finally, everyone. Rylan stepped closer, your whole team. And my bond circle, my mentor, my closest kin. Her voice didn't break, but there was something in the way she swallowed that hit him harder than any tremor outside. The sabotage targeted our memory lattice. Once it fractured, the shockwave consumed the facility. Rylan frowned. Memory lattice? Surya hesitated, not out of secrecy, but out of pain. Then she touched a crystalline plate beside the console. A holographic web blossomed upward, thousands of glowing threads suspended in the air like a galaxy made of silk. Rylan stared. What is this? Our lineage, Surya whispered. Our knowledge. The Vaeloron do not store information in devices alone. We weave memory into energy imprints passed through generations. She touched a point in the web. It flickered weakly. The saboteur struck here, where the lattice was most vulnerable. They tried to erase us. Rylan felt something flare in his chest, anger on her behalf, sharper than expected. And you're the only one left. For now. Silence settled between them, soft but heavy. The shifting lights of the lattice danced across Surya's face, making her look both ancient and heartbreakingly young at the same time. Rylan cleared his throat. You mentioned a saboteur. Any idea who? Her expression grew distant. I sensed a consciousness I did not recognize in the breach moments before it collapsed. Something foreign, cold, it felt human. He stiffened. You think a human did this? I do not accuse your species, she said gently. But something touched our systems that was not Vaeloron, not machine, and not natural. Rylan paced a slow circle around the chamber, hands on his hips. If someone's using human tech to attack Vaeloron research sites, this is bigger than a local disaster. Exactly. Her voice grew quiet, and you arriving here today was not coincidence. He blinked. You think someone sent me? No, she said. I think someone wanted you to die here. A chill crawled down his spine. Before he could respond, the chamber lights dimmed. A soft ripple of static swept through the air, faint but unmistakable. Surya turned sharply toward the tunnel they'd entered through. They found us, she whispered. Rylan reached for his pulse pistol. Already that fast. They trace emotional resonance as well as heat, Surya said. Fear, distress, grief. He grimaced. Great, I'm a walking alarm beacon. Surya placed a hand on his arm, steadying him before panic could rise. "Your heartbeat," she said, her voice low. "Slow it." He stared at her. "You can hear it." "I can feel it." She lifted her other hand, hovering it just over his chest, not touching but close enough that he felt the warmth radiating from her palm. "Breathe with me." He swallowed but followed her lead. In, out. Her cadence was precise, slow, controlled, almost musical. His pulse eased, the air steadied. Lights in the chamber flickered again, dimmer now. The warden mech's humming buzz echoed faintly through the stone. Surya stepped back. "Good, you adapt quickly." "Survival's a great motivator." A faint ripple passed across her expression. "Then let us continue surviving." She moved toward the far side of the chamber and pressed her palm to a vertical seam in the wall. It split open to reveal a descending passage illuminated by soft green light. Rylan approached but hesitated. "Where does this lead?" "To the heart of the lattice," she said, "where the saboteur first attacked. If answers exist, they are buried there." "And the mech?" She looked back at him, eyes bright, calm, impossibly steady. "It will not catch us," she said, "not as long as you keep following my steps." He felt heat rise in his chest. Fear, the descent carried them deeper than Rylan expected. The air changed first, cooler, denser, with a metallic sweetness that tingled faintly on the tongue. The green glow lining the passage shifted gradually into soft violet, casting long shadows that slid along the crystalline walls like drifting smoke. Surya moved with purpose, her steps silent against the polished floor. Rylan followed, pulse steadying the longer he focused on her silhouette. There was something about the way she walked, balanced, precise, almost ritualistic, that made the chaos above feel distant. Eventually, the passage opened into a massive chamber. Rylan stopped short. A cathedral of light stretched around them. Towering pillars of crystallized memory rose from the ground to the ceiling, each humming with faint resonance. Thin arcs of energy drifted between them, weaving a living web of violet and blue threads. "Is this all the memory lattice?" Rylan whispered. "No," Surya said softly. "This is only its core, what remains of it." Rylan stepped forward, awe growing with every breath. "It's beautiful." Surya's eyes lowered. It was more so when alive. He didn't need to ask what she meant. Many of the pillars were cracked, darkened, or flickering with damaged energy. Some had collapsed entirely, leaving only shards on the floor. "This is where they struck first," she said, walking toward the largest pillar at the center. "The heart of our lineage, the anchor of our history." Rylan knelt beside a broken cluster of crystals. "Someone didn't come here to destroy research. They came to erase culture." Surya's expression tightened. "Erase us." Rylan stood and approached her. "Why? What were you working on that mattered this much?" She hesitated, a long, cautious pause before speaking. "We were studying harmonic cognition." "Which is?" "A bridge," she said. "A way to align thoughts between species without words. It would allow two minds to understand intent, emotion, truth, without the distortions of language." Rylan blinked, "A universal empathy link." "In essence," he let out a low whistle. "Something like that could end wars." "Or start them faster," Surya murmured, "which is why someone wanted it silenced." Before Rylan could respond, a pulse shivered through the chamber, soft but enough to make the hair rise on the back of his neck. Surya's ears twitched. Something is awakening. Rylan reached instinctively for his pistol. "The mech." "No," she said, stepping toward another cluster of crystals. "Not mechanical." She touched her palm to a dark pillar. It flickered weakly, then trembled as though responding to her presence. Veins of pale light spread through it, forming threads that pulsed with irregular rhythm. "It stored a mind," Surya whispered. "A fragment of someone." Rylan frowned. "Is that safe?" No, her voice was quiet, but necessary. Light built inside the pillar, then surged, projecting a wavering silhouette into the air. A Vaeloron figure composed of shimmering fragments, tall, graceful, gentle in posture. "Surya," it breathed, the voice echoing through layered tones. Rylan stepped back. Surya did not. "Mentor," she whispered. The apparition flickered, unstable, barely holding form. "Child, you survived," the memory fragment said. "I am relieved." Surya's voice softened into something Rylan hadn't heard from her yet, pure tenderness. "I am sorry I was not here. I tried." "You lived," the fragment echoed. "That is enough." Rylan glanced at her, then at the floating form. "Can it talk to us?" "Really talk?" "Only in brief pulses," Surya said quietly. "Fragments cannot sustain long cognition." The mentor's form shivered, distorting. "There is little time. The one who attacked us, he sought to take the harmonic prototype. He failed to retrieve the core, so he sabotaged the lattice. Rylan stiffened. Did you see him? Was he human? The fragment turned, its gaze passing over Rylan before settling into a trembling glow. Yes, it said. A human, but not acting alone. He carried a signature in his mind, a synthetic imprint, not machine, not organic, a hybrid. Rylan's stomach twisted. So someone's controlling him. A consortium, the fragment whispered. One that fears what empathy might reveal. Surya stepped closer. Why destroy the lattice? Why kill us? To slow discovery, the mentor answered, voice cracking. To halt progress. And to bury the truth that the harmonic bridge was already functioning. Rylan's eyes widened. Already working with what species? The fragment flickered violently. Human, Vaeloron connected, one test, one mind, one bridge. It collapsed. The light shattered, scattering into dim particles that drifted down like dying fireflies. Surya stared at the empty space where her mentor had been. Her expression didn't change, but Rylan saw something tighten in her posture. A quiet collapse held together by sheer discipline. Rylan took a step toward her. Surya, I'm sorry. She turned her face slightly away. Grief later, answers now. Another pulse reverberated through the chamber, this one deeper, harsher. Mechanical, Rylan cursed under his breath. The mech's here. Surya's gaze snapped to the far entrance. The violet light trembled as footsteps metal on crystal echoed closer. It tracked the memory surge, she said. Rylan raised his pistol. Then we fight. No, Surya said sharply. That thing is not meant to be destroyed with brute force. He gave her a look. Everything dies if you shoot it enough. She shook her head. The mech is shielded by layered adaptive armor. It evolves with each attack. To harm it, you must disrupt its pattern. He blinked. Pattern. She stepped closer, so close that her cloak brushed his chest. Your heartbeat is steady now, she murmured. Good, you will need clarity. Rylan felt warmth coil through him at her nearness. What do you need me to do? She lifted her hand, hovering at inches from the side of his neck. He felt a soft hum of energy. I need to align your resonance with mine, she said, her voice dropping into a lower, gentler register. Only for moments, enough to confuse the mech scanner. He swallowed, resonance align. You mean like a harmonic echo? The mech entered the chamber like a steel predator birthed from the dark. Its limbs unfolded with sharp clicks, each joint glowing with cold blue light. 3 ocular lenses rotated toward them, adjusting focus. The hum of its internal core rose in pitch, hungry, analytical, precise. Rylan felt every muscle in his body coil, not from fear, but from the raw intensity radiating between him and Surya. Her hand hovered near his throat, the air warm with the resonance she had triggered. A faint pulse of light shimmered between them, soft waves that matched the rhythm of their breathing. Surya's voice barely rose above a whisper. Stay close. Do not break the frequency. How will I know if I break it? He whispered back. You will feel cold, she said simply, and then you will die. Good motivation. Her ears twitched, a tiny spark of amusement, before her focus snapped back to the approaching mech. It scanned the room. A beam swept over the pillars across the fractured lattice, then toward them. Surya shifted her stance, moving one step to the left. Rylan moved with her as if drawn by a gravity he couldn't explain. She nodded. Good. You feel the pattern. He didn't, but he trusted her enough to follow instinct. The beam reached them. Nothing happened. The mech paused, confused, its lenses whirred, recalibrating. The beam passed over them again, slower this time, yet it still didn't lock on. Rylan swallowed. It can't see us. It cannot identify us, Surya corrected. Our signatures overlap, 2 rhythms, 1 echo. To the mech, we are static noise. Like jamming its brain. Yes, the mech stepped forward, metal claws scraping crystal. It scanned again, still nothing. A soft mechanical trill rippled through its core, a sound Rylan interpreted as frustration. You're surprisingly good at confusing it, he whispered. Surya's eyes stayed fixed on the mech. Vaeloron resolve conflict through harmony, not violence, even in war. Humans resolve conflict by yelling and hoping the problem gets tired. One might argue that is violence. Usually, yes. Her lips lifted, barely but unmistakably. The closest thing to a smile she had allowed herself, but the moment couldn't last. The mech shifted stance, deploying a wide-range sonic sweep, one strong enough to shake dust from the high pillars. Surya grabbed Rylan's wrist instantly. Move. They darted sideways just as the sonic wave hit. It wasn't aimed at them directly, it was clearing potential hiding spots. Crystals shattered, shaking the chamber. A few pillars cracked under the force. Rylan shielded his face. That thing can level the entire room. It will, Surya said, pulling him behind a fractured memory column. If we do nothing. He exhaled through clenched teeth. What's the plan? Not destruction, she said. Disruption. She turned her face toward him, calm despite the chaos. I will project a resonance burst. You must amplify it. He blinked. Amplify how? Your heart, she said. That is not useful instruction. Your species reacts emotionally with remarkable intensity, she explained. Fear, anger, hope, they create strong internal frequency spikes. If you focus, the mech's sensors will try to adapt to you, and during that shift I can strike. Strike with what? You don't have a weapon. What? I am the weapon, she said quietly. Before he could respond, the mech loomed around the pillar, sensors locking on the vibrations in the air. Surya stepped in front of Rylan, her hand pressed lightly to his chest, not forceful, steadying. Focus on something true, she whispered, something that anchors you. He tried. The sound of the mech's servos drowned every thought. The cold rising in his spine threatened to break his concentration. Surya. She leaned closer, close enough that the glow of her skin brushed warm light across his cheek. Rylan, she murmured, look at me. He did. Her gaze held him like gravity, deep, luminous, unwavering. The world narrowed to the blue light of her eyes and the soft hum between their chests. His heartbeat surged, then steadied, strong, clear, unmistakably his. The mech charged an energy bolt. Surya moved. Light burst from her palm, a harmonic pulse that rippled outward, catching on Rylan's amplified heartbeat. The wave hit the mech mid-charge. Its armor flickered. Its lenses stuttered. Its footing faltered, metal grinding loudly against the crystalline floor. That's working, Rylan shouted. Not enough, Surya said through gritted teeth. Once more. She pressed her forehead lightly to his, just for an instant to draw resonance. The connection sparked through him, hot and electric. Rylan's pulse thundered, surging outward like an echo. Surya unleashed the second burst. This one hit the mech so hard its limbs seized. Sparks cracked across its shoulders. Its scanning beam fizzled, then died. The towering machine stumbled, fell sideways, and crashed into a support pillar with a seismic boom. For a breath, the chamber fell silent. Rylan blinked at the smoking metal heap. Did we kill it? What? No, Surya said, stepping back from him, her glow dimmed, exhausted. Only stunned, it will reinitialize soon. Rylan exhaled. Then we should move before round 2. She nodded, but wavered slightly. Without thinking, Rylan caught her by the arm. Hey, easy. I am fine, she said, although her voice lacked its usual solidity. You're not fine, that took a lot out of you. She inhaled, steadying herself. Resonance work is taxing when shared. Rylan gave a half smirk. So I'm exhausting. Her eyes lingered on him longer than before. You are overwhelming. A pause that is different. A warmth spread through his chest. The ascending corridor narrowed as they ran, the walls shifting from violet crystal to smooth metallic plating. The transition felt abrupt, as if the Vaeloron architecture had been overlaid with something foreign, a patchwork fusion of two incompatible designs. Rylan noticed scorch marks along the edges, small indentations in the walls, and cables that didn't match Vaeloron frameworks. Surya, he said between breaths, this isn't your construction. No, she said, her pace never slowing. This part was added by the saboteur. Why? To reach the prototype chamber faster. A chill traced Rylan's spine. So they were after the harmonic device. They still are, Surya's voice sharpened. The mech will not stop. It has one directive, to retrieve what the saboteur could not. The corridor twisted sharply, ending in a sealed door. The panel beside it had been torn open, wires hanging like exposed nerves. Surya stopped abruptly. It was forced. Recently, Rylan raised his pistol, meaning someone beat us here. She stepped to the ruined panel and pressed her fingertips to the frayed wires. Her glow resonated softly, coaxing life into the dead mechanism. Sparks flew. The door trembled, then slid open with a reluctant hiss. Inside was darkness. Cold, empty darkness. Surya moved first. Rylan followed, pistol raised, scanning every corner. The chamber was large, wide enough for a research team and their equipment. But now it was stripped bare. No consoles, no data cores, no prototype device. Only a single object remained. A small circular platform in the center, raised on a pedestal of black alloy. Its surface was cracked, one half melted, the other half gleaming with faint Vaeloron symbols. Surya approached it slowly, almost reverently. "This was where we tested the prototype," she whispered. Rylan studied the ruins. "What exactly did it do?" She traced the fractured surface with her hand. "It enabled two minds to enter alignment, not merge, just understand. Feel truth without distortion." He tilted his head, "Like what we did earlier." Her eyes flickered toward him. "Similar but controlled, safe, consensual." "Meaning what we did wasn't safe." "It was improvisation," she said. "Beautiful but dangerous." He ignored the way his chest tightened at the word beautiful. "So the device, someone stole it." "No," she said. "I destroyed it before they could." Rylan blinked. "You did." She nodded. "If the saboteur took it, they could weaponize intent itself. They could predict emotional shifts across entire populations. It would end choice, end will. Mind manipulation," Rylan said, "on a scale big enough to enslave worlds." "Yes." He let out a long breath. Okay, destroying it was the right call. Surya withdrew her hand from the pedestal, her shoulders tense. "But the core memory is still here, hidden in the lattice, and the mech will detect it soon." "So we destroy that too," Rylan said. "No." Surya's tone dropped into something sharp, almost wounded. "The memory lattice is my people, their voices, their lives. I will not erase them." He stepped closer. "Surya, if keeping it puts you in danger." "I survived losing them once," she said softly. "I will not choose to erase them now." The mech's distant footsteps echoed faintly down the corridor. Rylan swore under his breath. "Then what's the plan?" Surya closed her eyes, inhaling deeply. When she opened them again, the glow behind her gaze had sharpened, as if she had made peace with something heavy. "We move the memory." "Move it," he asked. "To where?" "To you." Rylan froze. "Me." "You carry no Vaeloron imprint," she explained. "Your neural structure is compatible. The lattice recognizes resonance. It can choose a new guardian." He shook his head. "Surya, I'm not. This is your heritage, not mine." "My heritage is dead," she said quietly. "What remains is our truth, and truth lives where it is carried." He stepped back, heart pounding. "If you transfer it into me, won't you lose it?" "No," she said, taking a step toward him. "I will guide it, but I cannot hold it alone. The burden would tear my mind apart. I need someone who can anchor it." He swallowed. "And you think that's me?" She hesitated, not in uncertainty, but in vulnerability. "You align with me easily," she said. "You listen, you feel." A pause. "You chose to stand with me, even though you did not have to." The mech's footsteps grew louder, close now, maybe seconds away. Rylan searched her face. "If we do this, what happens to me?" "You will remember what my people lived," she said. "Their joys, their grief, their births and deaths. You will carry them as echoes. And if I say no," she lowered her gaze, "then I will face the mech alone." His breath slipped out in a soft, pained sound. He thought of her mentor's fragment, of the broken lattice pillars, of the way she steadied him when his pulse threatened to break, of the way her voice trembled only when speaking of her people. And he realized something with startling clarity. He didn't want her to stand alone ever again. "Surya," he said quietly, "tell me what to do." Her head lifted slowly. Light brightened behind her eyes, hope fragile but real. "Come here." He stepped onto the cracked platform. She reached out, placing her hands on either side of his face. Her palms were warm, glowing softly. His breath hitched not from fear, but from the gravity of the moment. "Do not resist," she whispered. The surge of memory hit like a star exploding behind Rylan's eyes. For a heartbeat, he wasn't himself. He was hundreds of people, Vaeloron explorers diving into crystal oceans, children touching glowing vines that pulsed with ancestral songs, guardians weaving harmonic patterns to welcome newborn minds into the lineage. He felt centuries of joy, centuries of loss, and beneath it all, a steady thread of hope woven through every life. Surya's voice guided him through the storm, her palms warm against his face. "Do not drown in them. Let them become echoes, not anchors." He held onto her voice like a hand in the dark. Slowly, the memories settled, layering themselves inside him like a second heartbeat. The blinding light dimmed, his vision cleared. And he found Surya standing before him, her glow trembling from the strain. He caught her before she collapsed. "I'm here," he said, voice hoarse, her breath steadied against his chest. "It is done. The lattice lives." He nodded, but behind them a metallic whine rose, cold and sharp. The mech had arrived. Its lenses locked onto the faint resonance still swirling through the air. Its core charged, humming with deadly intent. The chamber walls reflected its blue glare, fractured light dancing across the floor. Rylan tightened his grip around Surya. We have to move. No, she whispered. It is too late for flight. He set her gently on her feet. Then we make a stand. The mech took a thunderous step forward. Energy crackled along its limbs, gathering at the emitter in its chest, stronger than before, deadly focused. Surya placed a hand on Rylan's arm. You carry them now, their voices. Their truth you must survive. What about you? He asked. I will face what I must. He shook his head, not alone. For the first time her expression broke, open, unguarded, shining with something deeper than fear. Rylan, she whispered. He stepped closer, lowering his forehead to hers, the way she had done during resonance. We do this together, or not at all. Her breath trembled, but she didn't pull away. Their resonance reawakened, stronger now, threaded with Vaeloron memory. The air vibrated around them, a living pulse of two minds aligning once more. The mech fired. Time slowed. Surya lifted her hands, light gathering along her arms like molten energy. Rylan's pulse matched hers, amplifying the harmonic field around them. The air shimmered, the ground hummed, the energy bolt struck. Then bent, refracting off an invisible barrier formed by their shared resonance. The blast split into arcs of harmless light, scattering across the chamber like shooting stars. The mech froze, unable to process the anomaly. Rylan felt the memories inside him rise, voices whispering guidance, patterns unfolding across his senses. Surya, he said, gripping her hand, I know what to do. So do I, she whispered. They moved as one. Rylan stepped forward, channeling the emotional resonance the Vaeloron had gifted him. Surya wove the harmonic pattern, her movements elegant, precise, glowing with ancestral strength. Their combined pulse hit the mech like a wave of starlight. Its armor flickered, its systems jittered, its lenses cracked under the strain. It stumbled backward, failing to adapt. Another pulse followed, stronger, amplified by every echo inside Rylan's mind. The voices of Vaeloron ancestors rose in a layered harmony that shook the chamber. The mech collapsed. Smoke poured from its joints, its core dimmed, sparks fading into silence. Rylan exhaled, chest heaving. Is it over? Surya stepped closer to the fallen machine. It is disabled. Its directive is broken. It will not rise again. He let himself sag against a pillar, the weight of the inherited memories finally settling into place. Good, because I'm not sure I had a third pulse left in me. Surya approached him slowly, her glow softer now, no longer defensive but warm. She touched his arm. You endured what no human has endured, she said. You carry more than memory, you carry us. He swallowed, feeling the truth of it. Does that make me part Vaeloron? She considered this with unusual seriousness. Perhaps not by birth, but by choice and by resonance. Their eyes held, the air between them quiet, fragile, filled with something unspoken. Above them, faint tremors signaled that the upper levels of the outpost were beginning to destabilize. Rylan pushed off the pillar. We need to leave before the whole place collapses. Yes, she said, but not to the surface. He arched an eyebrow. Then where? She extended her hand, not as a guide but as an equal. To the last Vaeloron vessel hidden beneath the ridge. You will come with me. He blinked. You're just assuming that. I am asking, she said softly, but I am also hoping. Something in his chest tightened, something shaped by both his own heart and the echoes inside him. I'll go, he said, not because of the memories, Surya, because of you. Her breath caught, glowing brighter for a heartbeat. Then we leave together. They ascended the corridor, leaving the ruined lattice chamber behind. The mech lay silent, a dead reminder of the danger that had shaped their path. When they reached the upper tunnels, the dim glow of the exit washed over them, thin, pale light breaking through fractured stone. Rylan looked back once, feeling the lingering voices stir with quiet gratitude. Surya noticed. They are at peace, she said, because you carry them forward. I'll do them justice, he said quietly. All of them. She stepped beside him, close enough that their shoulders brushed. And I will teach you how. Outside, the sky of Vaeloron 3 shimmered with scattered storm clouds and the faint hum of distant engines. Freedom waited beyond the ridge. So did danger and possibility. Rylan looked at Surya, glowing softly in the fading light, her presence grounding and fear.